Israel, the world's only Jewish state, lies east of the Mediterranean Sea. Nearby, Palestine is home to the Arab population originating from territories controlled by Israel. The enduring Israeli-Palestinian conflict, defined by Israel's control of the West Bank and Gaza Strip, has fueled decades of unrest, escalating into violent clashes. To understand the roots of this conflict, we must delve deep into history. Early history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. In the 17th century BCE, following God's call, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the patriarchs of the Jewish people, settled in Canaan. This region, which corresponds to present-day Israel, the West Bank, Gaza, and parts of Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan, came to be known as the Promised Land, or the Land of Israel. By 1000 BCE, King Saul established the Israelite monarchy, succeeded by King David, who made Jerusalem his capital, and King Solomon, who built the first temple in the city. After Solomon's death, the kingdom split into Israel in the north and Judah in the south. Successive conquests diminished the Jewish population, notably under Roman rule, during which the region was renamed Palestine to undermine Jewish ties to the land. Christianity, emerging as a Jewish sect, spread across the Roman Empire. By the 7th century CE, the Arab conquest introduced Islam, adding the Dome of the Rock atop the ruins of the Second Temple and cementing Jerusalem's significance for Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. During the Crusades, European Christians sought to reclaim Jerusalem from Muslim rule, leading to widespread persecution of Jews and Muslims. By the 16th century, the Ottoman Empire controlled the Holy Land, which was informally called Palestine. Meanwhile, in Europe, Zionism, a movement advocating for a Jewish homeland in their ancestral land, gained momentum, especially as Jewish persecution intensified. World War I and the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, Britain and France divided the Middle East. Under the British Mandate for Palestine, Britain pledged to establish a Jewish national homeland in the Balfour Declaration of 1917. Jewish immigration to the region surged, especially during the Nazi regime in the 1930s. The rising Jewish population fueled tensions with Arabs, leading to violence. The Holocaust, which claimed 6 million Jewish lives, further propelled Jewish migration to Palestine. Overwhelmed, Britain sought to relinquish its mandate. The United Nations proposed partitioning Palestine into Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem as an international zone. The plan, granting 56.5% of the land to Jews, who made up only a third of the population, was rejected by Arabs. As Britain withdrew in 1948, Israel declared independence, sparking a new era of conflict. The 1948 Arab-Israeli War and its aftermath following Israel's declaration of independence. Arab nations, Egypt, Jordan, Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon invaded. The war ended in 1949 with ceasefires granting Israel control of over 2/3 of historic Palestine, including West Jerusalem. Jordan held East Jerusalem and the West Bank, while Egypt controlled Gaza. This war displaced over 750,000 Palestinians, an event they refer to as Al-Nakba, the catastrophe. Many refugees fled to neighboring countries, where they and their descendants remain in camps or marginalized communities to this day, fueling resentment and a sense of injustice. In 1967, after rising tensions, Israel launched preemptive strikes against its neighbors, initiating the Six-Day War. Israel captured the Golan Heights from Syria, the West Bank and East Jerusalem from Jordan, and Gaza and the Sinai Peninsula from Egypt. While Sinai was later returned under a peace treaty, Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories continues to this day. The war not only altered territorial boundaries, but also reshaped regional politics, embedding the conflict into the wider Arab-Israeli struggle. Many Palestinian refugees and their descendants were unable to return home, living in camps in Gaza, the West Bank, and neighboring countries under increasingly dire conditions. The First Intifada and Oslo Accords growing Israeli settlements in Palestinian territories led to the formation of the Palestine Liberation Organization, PLO, in 1964, aimed at creating a Palestinian state. After years of attacks and reprisals, tensions exploded in 1987 with the First Intifada uprising, triggered by the deaths of Palestinians in a traffic incident involving Israeli forces. The uprising, marked by widespread protests, civil disobedience, and violence, highlighted the plight of Palestinians under occupation. This period of unrest prompted international attention, leading to the Oslo Accords in the 1990s. These agreements, though controversial, divided the West Bank into areas A, Palestinian control, B, shared control, and C, Israeli control. and established the Palestinian Authority as a governing body in limited areas. The Second Intifada and Hamas's rise in 2000 failed peace talks at Camp David and a provocative visit by Ariel Sharon, then a prominent Israeli leader, to the Temple Mount triggered the Second Intifada. This period of intense violence, lasting until 2005, included suicide bombings, military incursions, and widespread destruction, further entrenching animosity on both sides. Israel's withdrawal from Gaza in 2005 marked a significant shift, but the territory soon fell under the control of Hamas, a militant Islamist group. Following a violent split with the Palestinian Authority in 2007, Hamas solidified its hold over Gaza, leading to a blockade by Israel and Egypt that persists today. The blockade has devastated Gaza's economy and living conditions, sparking periodic escalations of violence. In 2018, the US moved its embassy to Jerusalem, signaling support for Israel's claim over the city and drawing widespread Palestinian condemnation. This move exacerbated tensions over Jerusalem's status, which remains a central issue in the conflict. The years since have seen continued settlement expansion in the West Bank, evictions of Palestinians in East Jerusalem, and clashes at holy sites. In 2021, tensions in East Jerusalem escalated following attempts to evict Palestinian families from Sheikh Jarrah. These events ignited a series of violent exchanges, including rocket fire from Gaza and Israeli airstrikes. The 11-day conflict resulted in significant casualties and destruction, particularly in Gaza. Although a ceasefire was brokered, the underlying grievances, such as displacement, inequality, and sovereignty, remain unresolved. In addition to regional dynamics, the international community plays a significant role. Various countries and organizations have attempted to mediate peace, but their efforts are often undermined by deep-seated mistrust and competing interests. The Abraham Accords, signed in 2020, normalized relations between Israel and several Arab nations, but sidelined the Palestinian issue, causing frustration among Palestinians who view the agreements as a betrayal. The humanitarian cost. The conflict's toll on civilians is staggering. In Gaza, over 2 million residents live under severe restrictions, with limited access to clean water, electricity, and healthcare. The West Bank faces ongoing settlement expansion, checkpoints, and land confiscations, disrupting daily life for Palestinians. Conversely, generations on both sides have grown up amid fear, trauma, and loss, perpetuating cycles of violence. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is a deeply rooted and complex territorial dispute with historical, religious, and political dimensions. Despite international efforts, peace remains elusive. The region's fragile state underscores the urgent need for a sustainable resolution to prevent further violence and suffering. Only through addressing the core issues, such as borders, security, refugees, and mutual recognition, can lasting peace be achieved. Until then, the conflict remains a ticking time bomb, with the potential to destabilize not only the region but the wider world.